All right, you chupacabras, I got to give you an update because I'm starting to think it's this oil pump. This oil pump's got to be seized. So let's go back to what we thought it was going on. We thought the bolts were too long, not letting it crank, spin. That idea went out the window. And I knew it wasn't that from the beginning because yesterday it was cranking, right? So how did it go from cranking to not cranking at all? Then I started wondering, all right, let's get this out of there and check that out. That wasn't it. Maybe it's the new starter, brand new from Toyota Easy. Maybe that's bad. Nope, that wasn't it. Then it's like, all right, we start now we start to dig a little bit. Let's start to take things apart here. Looking at the valve train, got the valve covers off, nothing funny in there. Everything's still on time. And then take the cams out of the motor. You see the cam gears right there. Oh, that right there? Yeah, you got to use that before you put the motors in. You got to prime them with oil. Anyway, got the cams off so I can close the valves and try to spin the crank and not bend the valves, right? So trying to isolate the problem here. What is the problem? What's going on while it's still in the car before I pull the motor out? So if you look real close, you're going to see that it moves just like 1 millimeter. Let me switch this back over. Come on, no room in here. Ready? One more time. Just like a millimeter. Now, why do I think it's the oil pump? Because if you know the design of these pumps, right, it's got an outer gear and an inner gear. I'm thinking the outer gear is seized to this housing, and the space between those two gears is that millimeter or two that it's actually moving here. I'd be surprised if it's not that because, like, it's a good built quality motor by a good name company. Why else would this have seized up like that? You imagine if this motor started up before doing all these checks. This is why you want to do your checkup, people. Jump the pumps, make sure there's no fuel leaking, pressurize the oil system before you put the motor in with your tank. Very nice. Then you crank it in the car, which is what I was doing yesterday. I was cranking it in the car, and then all of a sudden stopped cranking. I'm thinking, okay, the battery died. What happened? Here we are now. I was checking everything over. Did a bolt fall inside here? No, there's no bolt in there. Belt's not on anyway. The tension is off. So I think we are at the wall where it's time to reach out to the customer and come up with a game plan. Motor's got to come out. Oil pan's got to come out and start to check things. What went wrong? What seized and why? I double checked these lines up here. The in, the outs. I don't like using those, but some people like them. But stay tuned. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Sometimes the things don't go the way you want.